Welcome to episode 8 of our Navigating the Transformation of the Quality Measurement Landscape series. In this episode, we're tackling a very practical topic. We've talked about a number of important issues to this point that need to be understood and addressed when it comes to the transformation to digital quality measures. Today, Michael Klotz and I are going to discuss the how. So, Michael, we have briefly touched on operating models in episode 6 in the context of quality data ecosystem. But let's start at the beginning. And how should a health plan approach this transformation, and where do they start?
Yeah, let's start with the approach. There are two key items to that. So one, define the desired end state. In this case, generically speaking, the desired end state is something like this. A plan uses all digital quality measures and takes full advantage of all the automation and standardized data feeds and interfaces. This definition should be detailed enough to paint a very clear picture, but obviously be flexible enough to accommodate changes along the way. For example, the network changes, a plan may enter or leave markets, things like that. The second part is to create a roadmap. So once this will obviously be a multi-step strategic effort. And once we've defined where we want to end up, or where the plan wants to end up, and once we've figured out exactly where we start, which really starts with an assessment that clearly defines where the starting point is, i.e. an inventory of current capabilities, data sources, data flows, and so on, you can truly map out the trip, so to speak. So with that in place, I'm already feeling pretty good.
Yeah, but that's still somewhat abstract. We've previously talked about the different standards for DQMs and interoperability, data source aggregators, and more. And it can still be quite overwhelming. Is that where operating models come in?
Yeah, exactly. So even though the changes, standards, and technologies are very complex and confusing, sometimes still to us, I would say, they are very powerful in the sense that you don't have to understand or even know about all of them and still be able to take full advantage of the benefits. Just like when we use a browser to load a web page, you don't have to know everything about HTTP and TCP/IP and DNS and packet routing, and well, you get the picture.
Right. So talk more about operating models. What are they, and how do they help us here?
Yeah, so operating models are essentially templates for data operations that already take into consideration all the changes. And it is also worth noting here that we have also created a very detailed measure inventory and checklist, which enables our clients to quickly get an overview of their measures, data operations, where they stand. For example, traditional measures, EDPS, maybe even some FHIR CQL trial measures, and how the data gets processed for each. Admin data, supplemental data, some standard, probably a lot of non-standard, registries, aggregators, and so on. So operating models incorporate all that information and apply best practices to implementing the measures. And the most effective and automated way of getting and validating the data compared to today's typically very messy operation. So the future state with standardized data formats accessible via APIs, increasingly from data aggregators, that's a massive leap forward, and the operating models guide the transition in all those aspects.
And, that sounds extremely powerful. And I think, people may be curious why you call all those operating models and there's, not something with quality in the name. Can you explain that?
Yes. So that's very deliberate. What we haven't really talked about here, but what many plans are already seeing and tackling, is the fact that the data needed for quality measurement and the transition to digital quality measures is the same data that is required to perform many other functions as well. For example, gap identification and closure, care coordination, risk adjustment, and others. Obviously all need that data. Not only do they share the need for the same data, they all benefit from that data being more timely, more accurate, more complete, and more secure. So if the model needs to consider, or if the models need to consider the broader use of the data, and the data operations can and should service all those needs, not just quality measurement, So it makes perfect sense, I think, to call them operating models generically.
Well, thanks, Michael. So here's where we can help you get started now. So we can help you in your organization, as Michael outlined, with an assessment, building your roadmap, and even working with the different operating models. So please reach out to us and learn more about how we can help you. And also, we appreciate you watching the videos and engage with us offline. We hope these information sources are bringing you value and would love to get your input. And if there's other areas that you'd like for us to go deeper in, please let us know so that we can help you in your journey in navigating the quality measurement landscape. We'll see you next time.